Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Good morning to all of you. My Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rita Kusia-Dixon, my Provost Representative, Professor Christian Cranting, my Dean, Professor Karikacha Seidu, Professor Jerry John Ponyo, Dean of Kwapu, the Internal Auditor. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's with a deep sense of gratitude to God and an honor to welcome all of us here to the launch of the 40th anniversary of the Publishing Studies program. Publishing simply means to make known to the public, and it is at the heart of development. Publishing is a service, publishing is a business, publishing is a profession, and it is also an academic discipline. The product of publishing, that is publications, plays a very crucial role in the development of our society. It contributes to education, dissemination of information. It inspires, supports entertainment, preserves cultural and national identity. It is also a business, and because of that, it creates employment by employing people, supports development through taxes and social responsibilities. One of the gurus of publishing likens book publishing to a small switch, and I'm talking about Dr. Smith, a switch that sets into motion an enormous machine or a system that carries power to remote areas. It is for this reason that 40 years ago, the government of Ghana, with support from UNESCO, introduced the book industry program, now Publishing Studies as we know it, with a mandate to train the much-needed human resources to support the book industry in sub-Saharan Africa. From the pioneer class of 9 students in '84, enrollment has grown steadily. Our undergraduate and postgraduate students now stand about 647, and our alumni, that ranges between 2,500 and 3,000, are out there pursuing careers in education, the media, advertising, digital and print publishing, banking, civil and public service, politics, religion, and in fact, all sectors that requires the expertise of content creation, production, dissemination, and documentation. Over the years, the department has collaborated and received support from Oxford Brookes University through the British Council, the African Publishers Network, Ghana Book Development Council, Ghana Publishers Association, Ghana Association of Writers, Ghana Printers and Paper Converters, and our alumni as we strive to fulfill our mandate. Prof. Chair, permit me to acknowledge and appreciate with fondness the contributions of all staff and all heads of departments over the years who have supported this program since its inception. We are blessed to still have some of the founding lecturers still alive with us, and I want to use this opportunity to mention those that I can remember and acknowledge them for their support. The first on the list is Prof. F.T. Mate, who was at the birth of this program. And then we have Reverend Dr. Edem Tete, who is here with us. our first head of department. We have Mr. Whaley Dekuche, who is also here, who taught editing in the early days and served as our external examiner. Mr. Isaac Ofiapia, one of the first students on the program who is still here. Mr. Tudigraf Johnson, Mr. Gilbert Amegache, Mr. William Kwashi Lawson, Mr. Ansa, and Mr. Ochri. They were at the design press helping us with our practicals. 40 years is a long time. Along the line, we have also lost some staff who have also contributed to where we are today. Prof. Chair, I ask that you give us permission to pay tribute to staff we lost along the way. In no particular order, we have Prof. Amon Kote from Social Science, who taught us languages in Africa. Prof. Akpote, who was dean at the time. Professor E.K.A. Aziakato, Mr. Kijani, who taught drawing. The late J.K. Kondo, the late J.J. Stuba, Mr. Albert Populampo, and recently our own O.A. DeGraff Johnson. May their souls continue to find rest. May the good seeds they planted continue to flourish. During this anniversary, we intend to reflect on our achievements and impact, and of course, our challenges. Challenges that we have encountered along the way. And we hope to re-strategize so that our academic programs will be more impactful and our graduates more relevant to this very dynamic publishing industry. Prof. Chair, we teach and learn. There is need for us to teach and learn in a safe environment. Currently, our buildings need urgent attention and renovation. Thankfully, the Development Office has been there to see it and are working to resolve the problem. But we need our support. Support from our industry benefactors, support from the alumni. And so we are counting on all of you. The activities for the anniversary would span a couple of months. Next month, we would have an alumni-led outreach to senior high schools in Kumasi, Accra, Cape Coast, and Takoradi to promote the Publishing Studies program, since it appears that many of us do not know so much about the program when we enroll in the university. We will discuss job prospects so that our prospective students can make an informed decision when they choose to be students on the program. In July, we would have social activities and games. We'll launch books that the department has produced and donate some to schools in the Ashanti region. In August, we shall be at the Ghana International Book Fair to exhibit, deliver a seminar, and interact with alumni in Accra. In October, we would have a colloquium to discuss our theme, 40 years of publishing education in Ghana, reflections and the way forward. That will be followed by a departmental retreat where we shall be reviewing our courses and re-strategizing. The climax of the celebration would be in February 2025 with an awards and fundraising dinner and a Thanksgiving service. Prof. Chair, our alumni have indicated their full participation and support, and we appreciate it. So, welcome again to Great Hall, to KNUST, to people I haven't seen in many years. Enjoy the program this morning, fraternize, and reconnect. Welcome home. Thank you.
Thank you very much, HOD Publishing Studies. I have the singular privilege to invite Mr. I.K. Appiah to introduce our chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. MC. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm privileged to introduce the chair for this august program, even though we are having it in May. Our chair this morning is an alumna of KNUST. She had her basic education at Akantomi Primary and Royal International Schools in Bolgatanga and Kumasi, respectively. She proceeded to St. Monica's Secondary School in Mampong, Ashanti, where she studied for her GCE ordinary level and GCE A-levels at Wesley College, Wesley Girls High School in Cape Coast. She obtained her first degree in pharmacy at KNUST and was invited to the Department of Pharmacognosy, Faculty of Pharmacy, KNUST, to undertake her national service and subsequently a teaching assistantship position at the department alongside her Pharmacy Council required hospital internship at the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital, Kumasi, Ghana. This distinguished professor pursued graduate studies leading to the award of Master of Pharmacy degree in pharmacognosy in 1999 and was appointed lecturer at KNUST in the year 2000. She received a Commonwealth Scholarship Award in 2003 to study for a PhD degree at King's College, University of London, UK, where she also studied a parallel program in education and acquired a graduate certificate in academic practice. She returned to teaching and research at KNUST in 2007 and got promoted to the rank of senior lecturer in 2009 and further to associate professor in pharmacognosy in 2014. In 2011, Professor Dixon gained a Commonwealth Academic Fellowship at the Department of Pharmaceutical and Biological Chemistry, School of Pharmacy, University of London, UK, as a visiting scientist researching into bioactive natural products as well as Novartis Fellow in collaboration with seeding labs in the United States. This distinguished person is an accomplished phytochemist whose scientific knowledge and research expertise have impacted the international scientific community through training, membership, and scientific appraisals. Her research work spans the identification and development of bioactive natural products as standard medicines for the treatment and management of communicable and non-communicable diseases with emphasis on anti-infective, wound healing, anti-inflammatory, antipyretic, anti-diabetic, and many more. She has attended several conferences to present research papers and published over 80 scientific articles in peer-reviewed journals. As part of her professional networking and knowledge transfer partnerships, Professor Dixon holds membership in the Society of Medicinal Plant Research, International Society of Ethnopharmacology, Phytochemical Society of Europe, and the American Society of Pharmacognosy. She became the head of Department of Pharmacognosy, KNUST, for 3 consecutive terms, 2010 to 2013. She was elected Vice Dean and ultimately the Dean of Faculty of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. That position she held is the first in history as a woman there. This distinguished personality is so passionate about demystifying STEM program for girls and training the youth into global transformational leaders through talks and other engagements. Her exceptional contributions towards education have earned her several awards, including the Ghana Women of Excellence Awards, 2021 Outstanding Contribution to Tertiary Education in Ghana category, GLITZ Ghana Women of the Year Award, 2020 for Excellence in Education category, and Woman of Excellence Award at the Ghana Farmer Awards 2021, third edition. She loves cooking, exercising, and hanging out with friends and families. She is a devoted Christian, married with 4 children. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Professor Rita, born on Sunday, Akosia Dixon.
Please take your seats. Thank you. I wanted to save all of us from all that, but it didn't quite work out well. So thank you very much, my brother. And let me add my voice. Before I even add my voice, I think that the HOD, my sister, has done a good job establishing the protocol. So I'll seek the permission of all of you to stand on it. If you want me to sit on it too, I'm comfortable to do that, so that we can proceed. Agreed? All right. So on that note, I'd like to say a very good morning to all of you. I realized when she greeted us, we didn't respond. When I greet you, you have to respond. I said, good morning to all of us. Thank you very much. It's really very exciting to be here with all of you, celebrating this 40th anniversary, and especially taking us through memory lane by the HOD and seeing the first head of department, all these pioneering leadership, and also alumni. It's exciting, isn't it? I think they must be on their feet again, all those who started this wonderful story. We want to recognize you in a very special way. I'll crave your indulgence, please. Please, let's do it for them. Let's do it for them. Let's do it for them. Thank you. On behalf of the university, we are very grateful, sirs, for all that you did, which has brought us to where we are today. Aiko, we salute all of you. It is indeed very, very heartwarming to be part of this celebration, which is under the theme, a very good theme indeed, and I applaud the planning committee and the leadership. 40 years of publishing education in Ghana, reflections and the way forward. The BA publishing program, which, as she said, was initially known as the BA book industry, started, I'm told, in the 1984 thereabout. And prior to the commencement of the program, advertisement for admissions had already gone out, and admission forms had been purchased by prospective students. Decisions on preferred programs had been made, and then UNESCO came in with sponsorship. And this story is I.K. Appiah who really broke it down for me. He actually took me through day 1, day 2, all the way to the 40th year. And thank you very much. To the point that, in fact, he was one of the students who had to be, were you convinced or you were cajoled? Which one of them? to join the program. And he tells me, I have never regretted that decision. And if I have to take that decision 100 times, I will still choose this profession. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Thank you. So as a result of that, we're able to get the first cohort of 10 students, correct, to start the program. And the rest, you and I know, is history. At that time, of course, it's a professional program, so the university needed to keep an eye on the numbers. And therefore, for a number of years from that time, it was 10 each year, 10 each year, until it got to a point that the university had to increase the intake because a lot of people were showing high interest in this. Now, the program was intended to train manpower to feed the publishing industry in the area of content creation, editing, design, illustration, printing technology, marketing, book distribution. Of course, not only in Ghana, but also in the sub-region and also on the continent. And I think that the head of department has really done a good job, so let me not waste your time on that. How does the journey so far look? Again, she's done a good job. I'll just add a few. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, being a professional program, as I've already indicated, UNESCO also was very keen about the numbers, and so was the university. So we kept it very low until it got to a time that it had to be increased. And this is where we are now. And as for the success stories in terms of the graduates that this department has produced, you know that the department, the faculty, the college, they have done very, very, very well. I'm waiting for you to clap. Thank you. Most certainly, life, they say, begin at 40. So it is very significant that at this point in time, the department is taking stock of her activities over the past 40 years on the heels of the university's 70th anniversary. 2 years ago, we had our 70th anniversary. So we are really, really happy as management that as a department, as a college, you will set this time aside to really reflect and look into the future and see what the future holds. I'd like to just say a few things about the impact. We are all aware, the wonderful things that people who have been trained in this department, they are everywhere. And I'm sure you listened to the laundry list that the HOD went through. Everywhere you will find products of this department. And we are very grateful. Just for the sake of time, and please, if I don't mention your name, it doesn't mean that we don't recognize you. We recognize all of you in all the spaces that you are occupying, the leadership that you are providing, and all the many, many good things that you are doing for humanity. And just for emphasis, just to let the students know that as we speak, the head of risk at EcoBank was trained by this department. MD, yes. If you clap harder, maybe one day you'll be in that position. Thank you, thank you. MD of Afram Publications Limited, manager of Legon Press, CEO of Adwensa Publications, some of them are here, CEO of Logistics Accra, Director, Sandlos, Ministry of Education, and those in academia who are still running the show. And of course, all the people that you go into industry and meet who are helping us to train you, they are all our knights in shining armor, and we salute you all. Thank you. Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to conclude by expressing gratitude to UNESCO for the initiative. They have been collaborating with us as a university in various capacities beside helping us to start this program. Of course, quite recently, we cannot forget their support in the UNESCO Category 2 Center of Excellence in Engineering, which happens to be the first on the continent of Africa, and we are grateful to them. Also, the Ghana Book Development Council, they've also been a strategic partner, also supporting us in many ways. To all, I've done that already, but I'll repeat, our industrial partners and players. We say, Ayiko, even as the numbers continue to increase, you are not getting tired of us. You are still training these students when they come to you in the industry. We thank you very much. I would also like to praise and salute the provost of the college, the dean, department head, all are very hard-working, dedicated, and committed faculty and staff, and above all, the planning committee for putting this beautiful program together. I'll still wait for you to clap for them, and I'll continue. A very special congratulations to the Department of Publishing Studies. And having done that, I want to take the liberty to declare the 40th anniversary celebrations of the Department of Publishing Studies duly launched. Congratulations, 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 Department of Publishing Studies. Thank you.
Where wisdom thrives. Within the halls of knowledge, 4 decades have passed. Where wisdom thrives. With fervor, they've imparted. With sagacity, they've led. On the path of education, they firmly tread. A shining beacon amidst the depth of darkness. A glimmer of hope, a flicker of spark. Through tears, through fears, we navigate our path. And our lecturers are there, guiding us every day. Through storms, through shadows, they stand by our side. With words of comfort and wisdom confined. In the shadow of uncertainty, they become our light. And we will find our path. And everything will be all right. And everything will be all right.
Indeed, everything will be all right. They take the smallest of minds and kindle a flame that inevitably ignites. Lovers of knowledge with no boundaries in sight. Teachers whose enchantment always amazes. Within their classrooms, no one fall behind. Indeed, within their classrooms, no one fall behind. And every student discovers their passion aligned, instilling a lifelong test for wisdom and insights. Yes, instilling a lifelong test for wisdom and insights. Magicians of learning, their mission shines bright. Our lecturers and staff are the unwavering wind beneath our wings, propelling us to excel in all things. Yes, propelling us to excel in all things. Yes, of course, propelling us to excel in all things. Within their gentle guidance, we flourish and thrive. And our ambitions and dreams come alive. The gentle push, the gentle prod and nudge molds us into the finest version of ourselves we can budge. Our lecturers' impact is immeasurable and vast, and they are there every step of the way, giving us hope.
Oh yes, giving us hope. Teachers who go beyond the pages of textbooks, mentors whose knowledge are boundless and unhooked, guides whose wisdom mold their life's path, consultants whose impact surpasses time's wrath. They truly impart the lessons that matter and navigate us through life's storms and shatter. Their guidance and grace shapes our life's path and the persons we will be, and our gratitude for them are eternally key. Within the department, our angels reside, our lecturers, kind-hearted and always by our side. Souls whose hearts and love know no measure, and their purpose in life is to treasure.
They are listeners with ears attuned to all, helpers whose heart answers every call. In trouble and in sorrow, they stand by our side with comforting words and wisdom to confide. As we celebrate this 40-year flight, our gratitude shines in the brightest light for our lecturers and staff who have shaped our way. Forever in our hearts, your influence will stay. In honor of our department's grand legacy, we raise our voices in this heartfelt elegy. Here is to 40 years of wisdom and insight, guiding us through learning's wondrous heights. Thank you for 40 years of inspiration, for shaping minds and fueling imaginations. Here is to our lecturer, steadfast and true. In our hearts, we hold deep gratitude for you.
Long live KNUST, long live the Department of Publishing Studies. Thank you.
Long live poetry recital. Thank you very much, students of Publishing Studies. One of the fruits of the labor of the program. Congratulations, Publishing Studies, once again. When the VC was introduced, it was said of her that one of her interests is in cooking. Since I haven't tasted her meals before, she should invite me home very soon to taste her meal so that I can attest to the fact that her meals are good beyond she liking cooking. Madam, when am I to come? I thought you were going to say this afternoon. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, the program is on, and we're going to take a few addresses. There'll be 3 in succession. The first one, when done, will be broken by the interlude. And so we'll do it this way. The 3 people will be introduced by one person, but she'll come one at a time. And therefore, I invite Mrs. Irene Esinunu to do the introduction of the first person. After the interlude, she'll continue with the second person and then the third person.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Prof. Chair, I can see a few smiling faces. I don't know whether it's because my height. I have to keep readjusting and adjusting the microphone so I can speak. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, on behalf of my department, I am privileged and honored this morning to introduce our very first speaker. The speakers we have today are seasoned and very experienced personalities in the industry and also who have had engagements with academia. And so in tune with celebrating our theme, 40 years of publishing education, reflections, and the way forward. The very first speaker is the Vice Chairman of the African Publishers Network. He is a Pan-African, the APNET is a Pan-African Association of Publishers in Africa. He is also the CEO of ADEX Educational Publications Limited. He has served Copy Ghana as a board member for over a decade, and currently he is even the chairman of the same. He is also the president of the Ghana Publishers Association and the chairman of the Ghana International Book Fair. In fact, the accolades are many. They go on and on and on and on. But all that we want to say this morning is that we are honored to have this person to speak to this theme with all his rich background and experiences and exposure. And ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome our very first speaker in the person of Mr. Asare Kunedu Jamwa.
Good morning to you all. Madam Chair, good morning. Distinguished guests, faculty members, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, our students with us today. I am deeply honored and privileged for this opportunity to be a guest speaker at this prestigious event. I am aware of the hard work, dedication, and perseverance that have brought us to this moment of celebration. Hearty congratulations to all students who have successfully passed through this noble institution. The day marks a significant milestone in your lives and is a testament to your commitment to learning and personal growth. We sincerely acknowledge the faculty and the staff whose exceptional efforts have contributed to this milestone. Their guidance and nurturing and foresight cannot be glossed over. The fact that the foundations of every society are education, knowledge, and the transformational role of educators cannot be overstated. As we celebrate this moment of success, we must also recognize the efforts, foresight, sacrifice, and commitment of the great minds and passionate souls who were entrusted with the task of establishing this institute. Today's event, therefore, is a culmination of the collective efforts and the spirit of dedication and selflessness that some individuals and have contributed in making this happen. And I take the opportunity to salute all of them. Now, I want to remind us that every development has a history. A careful observation of some historical milestones shows the chronology of the establishment of this department some 40 years ago. From the 13th to the 19th February 1968, a meeting of experts on book development in Africa was organized under the auspices of UNESCO in Accra, Ghana. As Dr. Mojabindo Wuna, then Commissioner for Education of Ghana, delivered his welcome message, he said, and I quote, "Educational and social progress cannot endure without the stimulus that comes from reading." He emphasized that despite the vast natural resources to be spent in Ghana, while the 12 remaining days were reserved for the debriefing at the UNESCO headquarters. The terms of reference, as specified in the consultant contract, were to assist in the establishment of a degree course in book publishing at the University of Science and Technology, Kumasi, Ghana. Particularly, the consultant shall evaluate and make recommendations on the degree program prepared by the College of Arts of the university and assist in elaborating the structure of the course, the related curricula and syllabuses. 2, explore the possibilities of creating a regional center for training personnel in book publishing as a future development of this project, and prepare a project document for the possible submission to extra budgetary sources of financing. And the 3rd, of course, for the debriefing, was to visit UNESCO headquarters for discussions with the book section staff on the future implementation of this regional center. Madam Chair, as I mentioned earlier, certain chronological events led up to the dispatch of this mission. The conditions were ripe for the degree program, considering the fledgling nature of Ghana's book industry. Prior to this mission, an exploratory mission had been taken to decide which of the 2 West African countries, Ghana and Nigeria, had the capacity to host this program, and eventually Ghana was chosen. In the course of the 3 years, that was in between 1984 and 1987, UNESCO was to invest a total of $850,000 US for the full implementation of the 3-year program. And I've attached the report, so you can go through and look at it. Without a doubt, any critical observer of the pattern of growth of the book industry in Ghana will not be surprised to hear that the foundations of this department and its works have been instrumental in shaping the book industry landscape. Human resource, technical support, advocacy support, the department's signature is all over. Today, we have books and other literary works that are competing globally in content and print quality. Publishing professionals are changing the story with insightful contributions in pre-press, that is editing, typesetting, book design, illustrations, and printing. Some of the professionals have even ventured into writing and are better shaping the content that we read so far. We now have some good editors who are products of this school. Some data will help situate the critical role of the Department of Publishing Studies in the growth and development of Ghana's books industry. And here, one of my recommendations will come. Data is scarce. We don't have it. In 1987, there were only a few publishing houses with professionals. Today, we have quite a number in active service, and some have even established publishing houses and printing firms. Our world is rapidly evolving, madam, and with it, a myriad of global issues. In the global publishing arena, there are lots of transformational interventions, which have been responsible for major shifts in traditional publishing, offering more opportunities to the overall experience in book development. The Publishing Studies Department of this university must work towards building a continued relationship and influence with industry. The department leadership and professional support are, in fact, more critical at this time than ever before. It is the expectation of the publishing industry that the department will monitor and offer critical suggestions in the improvement of the existing legal and regulatory frameworks. Policies and regulations and laws to promote the publishing trade, such as the copyright law and its regulations, other conventions under the UN system that are relevant to publishing and intellectual property rights. There has to be a formal relationship between the department and the Ghana Book Domain Council, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, and all other statutory bodies whose mandate and activities relate to the book industry. For example, the Copyright Office, the whole foundation of publishing, Madam Chair, is anchored on the concept of copyright. It must be the interest of the department to find a way to influence and promote the copyright system and provide direction and technical support for the Copyright Office. The objective is to bring their professional experience to support their works and thereby provide a technical and professional outlook for improved outcomes. And there are some legislations, the Copyright Act of 698, 2005, Auntie Lucy, they are planning to review it, and I believe your contribution will be very crucial. So how you get yourself into the review, please. the Copyright Regulations of 2010, which was just reviewed last year, and the WIPO Treaties on Intellectual Property. One important document that at its inception offered hope to the book industry, Madam, design an online or physical on-the-job training for practicing book industry human resource, providing other services such as creating databases for use by industry to improve quality of business, alignment of academic content to industry innovations and initiatives, such as the emerging technologies, digital technology, digital learning, artificial intelligence, and etc. Influencing policy and legislation through research and data, promoting inclusivity, bridging the gap between men and women, gaining admission, and thereby engineering a balance of professionals of both genders in the book industry space. It's not enough. Even at council, Madam, you know, there are only 3 women on the council, yourself and other 2. We want to see a situation where the balance will tilt in favor of the women. So please, conscious effort should be made to bridge the gap between the students that are being trained. We expect some collaboration with the industry to organize seminars and periodic workshops for industry practitioners. This should make us develop a special relationship with your lecturers. The reason why the GPA offered Publishing Studies Department a seat on its council with an independent, non-partisan status was to bring the institution closer to industry and have a first-hand opportunity to learn about how it works and what it can do to shape the needs of industry. Therefore, we want to use this opportunity to encourage the department to be proactive and involving. We want to see you more. We are expectant of your knowledge contributing to the deliberations at council, Auntie Lucy, and in the book industry space. Now, what next? After 40 years celebration? Or what happens in the years? So when we have the opportunity in life to reflect, there is one thing that you can take away, and that is self-discovery. When you reflect about life, sorry, that thing is playing some tricks on me, so. When you have the opportunity to reflect, one thing you take away is self-discovery. When you reflect about life, you are actually piecing together your life so far to seek clarity. Once that clarity is achieved, it will act as a guiding light that illuminates your path into the future. It also offers your thoughts greater energy and inspiration. Socrates, the Greek philosopher, said, and I quote, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Indeed, Aristotle amplified it better with his piece, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." When you look into the mirror, what do you see? You see yourself. Looking back at you, the areas of your life that you have neglected are all shown in the mirror. This is the mirror of life. This evaluation, reflection, therefore, is not for the department alone, but also for those responsible for its establishment, those who have had their vocation so far with the school, the students who have passed through the corridors of this school. This is a period of reflection for all. Before I conclude, I want encouraging advice for the graduates of this school. The book industry space has one of the most liberal environments and greater opportunities for trade and practice of one's profession. You can decide what to do within this space immediately after school. You may decide not to write any employment application because from authorship to book marketing, it is a free range. Freelance is the best option for you. About 80% of companies within the publishing space engage in outsourcing, using specialists outside the company to provide them with needed services. Therefore, my students, don't be intimidated by the fears that cloud your minds about what will happen after school. Rather, be encouraged by the dreams that your hearts harbor. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it, says Paulo Coelho, the Brazilian novelist. The world is waiting for you with unimaginable opportunities. Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go, according to T.S. Eliot, the American novelist. And on this note, I thank you for your attention and would like to wish Publishing Studies Department a successful and
Thank you very much. Shall we give it up again for our wonderful performance? That was beautiful. A beautiful display of culture. So a few take-homes for me from our very first speaker. Thank you very much, our father, Mr. Yamwa. So he started by taking us through the history and the inception of the program, basing his discussions on the report by the consultant who led the formation of the department, and then went on to talk about how the department needs to be proactive in engaging industry so as to operate in a common space. Specifically, he mentioned how we should be able to contribute to the review of the Copyright Act to give a position that advocates for the reinstitution of the textbook policy and then also the Ghana cultural policy. He went on further to talk about how there is a need for a needs assessment with industry so as to get the expectations of industry and in order to create more developmental oriented training for industry in a way that helps to improve the industry space whilst also providing better opportunities for our graduates. And then for reflections, he admonished our graduates to consider freelancing and not just wait and write application letters, waiting to be employed. In fact, you can actually be on your own whilst you are still a student, and we know that. So let us all capitalize on that, even whilst we are still in school. Thank you very much, Mr. Yamwa. We really appreciate. So permit me, before I introduce the next speaker, to borrow the words of John the Baptist. John said that he who comes after me he who comes after me, whose sandal strap I'm not worthy to loosen. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Prof. Chair, our next speaker is our very own mother and an alumna of the Department of Publishing Studies. The reason I had to cite John the Baptist is because when I left school, he's the very first person whose home I ended up in working with her. And so for me to stand here today to introduce her as our next speaker is indeed a very huge task and quite intimidating. So our next speaker is a publisher and an educator with over 30 years of experience in the publishing industry. So if we are 40 years, she has 30 years of experience in the publishing industry. And she is the CEO of Blue Code Company Limited and the executive director of Diodene International School. She's an author. She runs a women's ministry called Harness Testimonies. You should all, we say Google, or you should all query that and read. It's very inspiring. She began her journey with a bachelor's degree, of course, in book industry, which is now publishing studies, and she has developed a deep appreciation for writing and publishing. Her multifaceted career as a publisher, as an author and an educator and a speaker is a testament to her profound impact on the literary and academic landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we welcome Mrs. Pearl Oklu-Dua.
Thank you very, very much, Irene. I'm honored. Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me to be here. The last time I found myself on this stage, I think I was modeling as a student. I was modeling as a student. That was the last time I found myself on this particular stage. But I'm glad to be here in a different capacity. It is with great pleasure that we gather here today to commemorate 40 years of publishing education in Ghana. We are reflections and the way forward. This milestone is indeed significant. 30 years ago, I walked into the book industry department. Really, I didn't know what to expect. I think I had been told by somebody, I didn't want to go to Legon because I wanted to be far away from home. And I'd been told that it was a good course. And this particular course, you make a lot of money. So I had that in mind when I came to book industry. The first lecture we have with Reverend Edem-Tete, he burst our bubbles. He said, if that is what you heard before you came, then you heard wrong. But I believe that although we came with that, well, I finished the course and I've been out of school for a long time. I wouldn't say I am rich, but I'm rich in wealth, a wealth of knowledge, a lot of it, a lot of it. I recall that during our time, we didn't have classrooms to ourselves. We walked the corridors of the art faculty looking for a room to have our class. At times, in the middle of the class, some students will appear. We have our lecture here. Then we have to get up and look for another class. I visited the department, and I'm happy to say that at least we have something to clap for ourselves. But when we are celebrating our 50th anniversary and we come back, we want to see an edifice, something bigger, something better. I would like to mention the impact our lecturers had on us. The publishing industry course, I came to realize, was a very serious course. And you could come out of it a professional already to work in any industry. I remember Professor Mate, who taught us a lot of things. And what I recall especially is typeface psychology. So he taught us about typeface psychology, and it is always in my mind when I'm typesetting. And one way he taught us was, he said, when you think of a sans serif typeface, like Helvetica, it is like this. And when you think of a serif typeface like Garamond, it is like this. Every time I think of typeface psychology, I think like this and I think like that. I mean, what an awesome way to learn. How many years ago? 36 years ago, and it is still with me. I recall one day I wrote a story. Reverend asked us to write a story. And I wrote a story. I still have that storybook that I made. It was a simple storybook, and it had to do with fish. I wrote the story. There are a lot of fish in the ocean. A blue fish, a red fish. You find red fishes, green, whatever color. It was a simple book I wrote. Reverend took one look at it and said, "You're a good writer." And I said to myself, what is Reverend talking about? You know, I didn't believe in myself then. I didn't believe I could write. Now I am a writer. I am an author. And this is a testament of what we learned as students in the book industry department, now publishing studies. I walked out of there, did my national service, and my next job was an operations manager in a publishing and printing house. Which industry would do that? Because we had learned and were needed. So this course, publishing studies, is a very important, as already mentioned, it's very, very important in all that we do in Ghana. We are in all the sectors. I spoke to a friend, a classmate of mine, who is a financial analyst in Merrill Lynch in Philadelphia. Then she said, "Pearl, do you know something? What I learned at the book industry department, especially editing and marketing, has helped me to become a financial analyst today. So we are in every sector, we are everywhere. A few of us stayed in publishing when we finished, but wherever they went, they made an impact. All of them. And now we've all come back together and we are talking to each other because of social media. So now we know where everybody is. From humble beginnings to the dynamic landscape we see today, the story of publishing education evolution is one marked by resilience, innovation, and a steadfast commitment to excellence. 40 years ago, the landscape of publishing education in Ghana was vastly different. It was now starting. With limited resources and outdated methodologies. I remember going for a conference in Chicago after I finished school, and it was a print conference. I went and I think I was very sad, and I promised myself I wouldn't go again. Why? Because the technology was totally different from what we had today, we had then. But I must say that the industry has grown, even in the printing industry. Now I can go and print 4 color at a go. In our time, it was cut and paste films. You cut and you paste. And you are making sure that you are pasting it right, so that one color does not shift from the other. That was where we found ourselves. But in the last 40 years, things have definitely changed. In the face of adversity and pioneers in the field, however, in the face of adversity, pioneers in the field forged ahead, laying the ground for what will become a thriving ecosystem of learning and creativity. Things have indeed changed in the last 40 years. Not as much as I would have expected, but things have changed. In the early years, publishing education was primarily focused on traditional print media, with an emphasis on typesetting, print techniques, and editorial skills, and also marketing. Over the past 4 decades, we have witnessed remarkable transformation in the publishing landscape. Today, as we reflect on this journey, we are filled with a sense of pride for the achievements we have collectively attained. As I visited the department yesterday, I was glad that we now have our own lecture halls. Students don't have to queue to access one computer. We had one computer that all of us had to use as a department and as students. But now I believe that students have their own laptops. Their computers in the offices. At least I saw computers in the offices. So we have moved from one point to the other. As technology advances and the digital revolution sweeps across the globe, the publishing landscape underwent a seismic shift. The emergence of desktop publishing, digital typesetting, and online platforms revolutionized the way information was created, disseminated, and consumed. As a result, publishing education had to adapt and evolved very, very fast. New courses were introduced. So I went through the list of courses that are done now, and I saw that a lot more has been added from what we went through then. New courses were added, and I believe that as time goes on, topics such as digital publishing, multimedia storytelling, and content marketing will be introduced. I would like to encourage our students to explore emerging technologies and develop skills in graphic design, web development, and social media management. As we celebrate our accomplishments, we must also acknowledge the challenges that lie ahead. In the era marked by rapid technology advancements and globalization, the publishing landscape is constantly evolving. We are confronted with new complexities, ranging from digital transformation to the need for greater inclusivity and sustainability. AI has come to stay, I must say. It really has come to stay. And we can learn to take advantage of it in a positive way, especially as a tool for research. Recently, a client reached out to me and told me she had finished her manuscript. I was a bit surprised and skeptical because she told me about she was going to write. So I asked her how she was able to achieve that within a short period. Then she said, I used ChatGPT. My question is that cheating? That is the question all of us must answer as we navigate through the evolving landscape of a new technology. As we chart the way forward, let us reaffirm our commitment to excellence and innovation in publishing education. Let us embrace emerging technologies as tools for empowerment, while also preserving the integrity and authenticity of our cultural heritage. And I'll repeat that. We have to preserve the integrity and authenticity of our cultural heritage. Let us strive to cultivate a new generation of publishing professionals who are not only adept in the latest technology, but also deeply rooted in the values of integrity and ethics and social responsibility. It is very easy for somebody to go to ChatGPT, go and pick up stuff and say, this is my publication. We have to be true to ourselves. Moreover, let us recognize the importance of collaboration and partnership, both within academia and across sectors. By fostering synergies between educational institutions, publishing houses, governmental agencies, and civil society organizations, we can amplify our impact and address shared challenges more effectively. So I'm glad that the faculty, the department is pulling together all the alumni so that we can all work together to change the narrative of the book in the publishing studies program. Looking ahead, the future of publishing education holds immense promise and potential as we stand on the cusp of a new era defined by artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and blockchain technology. The opportunities for innovations are limitless. However, with these opportunities also come new challenges, such as ensuring ethical standards, protecting intellectual properties, and addressing the digital divide. In conclusion, as we embark on the next phase of our journey in publishing education, let us do so with optimism, determination, and a sense of purpose. Let us draw inspiration from the achievements of the past 4 decades as we navigate the uncharted waters of the future. Together, let us continue to uphold the noble mission of publishing education, to enlighten minds, inspire creativity, and empower the next generation to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Shall we put it together for her again? Thank you so much, Adia Ma'am. So, ladies and gentlemen, moving on, our next speaker is also an alumnus of the Department of Publishing Studies. He is currently pursuing an MPhil in the same field, and he already has a degree, of course. He is an international consultant, providing consultancy for the Canadian Organization for Development through Education, specifically exploring markets in Sierra Leone and Liberia. He is also a very key member when you hear the Ghana Publishers Association. In fact, wherever you find our first speaker, you're likely to find this man there as well, the two of them, calling the shots. Between 2017 and 2018, he was a leading member of a committee that developed the Ghana Book Standards for the Ghana Book Development Council, and he also joined a team of 3 to develop the textbook assessment and approval process, which is currently being used by NACA to assess the books that our children use in educational institutions. If you have ever heard of Unimax Macmillan, then you would know this man as well. So, without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, shall we put our hands together for Mr. Kwabena Edge? In fact, he bears a very political name, but he always claims he's not a politician. Very political name.
Prof. Chair, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to stand on the existing protocols, as they say. I have so many distinguished people here who some taught me, some are still teaching me. I'm overwhelmed. Thank you for inviting me to speak as a guest speaker. Actually, to confess, it is good that I don't have a prepared speech, because the two preceding speakers have said everything. So if I had a prepared speech, I would have looked very stupid, like repeating whatever they have said, which would have. So everything that God does is good. I had the invitation, and at the spur of the moment, I was traveling to Bologna. I said, you send me the invitation. So I saw the letter in my email. I didn't read it because it was an invitation. This morning, I read it and I saw guest speaker. I said, man, what is happening? Yeah, but it's all good. But before I start, I would like us to give ourselves a round of applause. Because I think that, if I'm not mistaken, the book industry is one of the most resilient industries I've ever come across. If I can ask, how many of us bought a book yesterday? Okay. What about a week ago? What about last month? Okay. So, you see the market that we are serving. You are asked to satisfy a market that is not patronizing your product. How do we do it? I mean, sometimes I think it's by magic. And, you know, it's not just Ghana. At first, I thought it was just Ghana or maybe the sub-region. I had the opportunity to be invited by Italian Trade Association, ITA, to the Bologna Book Fair. And at the book fair, I met one Robert Sachs. He's the MD of Bound Sales Marketing. And they distribute books for 40 independent publishers in the UK and overseas. And he told me that out of the huge numbers of titles that they distribute each year, at the end of the year, they have 70% returns. 70% returns. So our work is quite challenging, but as me and my mother, who is not here, I wish you invited a Akoso Forimbensa of Sub-Saharan Publishers. She will tell you that after this work, she's going to leave. And I met her in 2003, and she's still working. So it's as if it's a cult. And once you join, you never leave. Madam Chair, I'd like to state something that in our industry, two things normally creep up on us. The first is technology, and the second is policy. And these two things sometimes are advantageous to us, and sometimes they serve as a disadvantage. Honestly, when I walked into the campus in 1993, I wasn't thinking of coming to do a course called book industry. I was a disappointed architecture student. And my uncle, who was leading my admission, said, "Oh, it's a very good course." That's why I said, "Uncle, I told you I chose architecture and book industry. You didn't even go and chase for the architecture." He said, "Oh, I forgot, but this one is very good. You see, it's a new course. When you do it, you are assured of work." So I said, "Okay, I'll do it for a year, and the following year I'll move to Akito." But it never happened. You see, I told you the cult, once you join it, you can't leave. I remember when I was in school, my dad is here. He's called Mr. Ike Apia. I don't know what he saw in me. Up to now, I still don't know. Maybe he still sees it, but he doesn't want to tell me. But when I was in school, I was involved in all kinds of what we called Kome. After studying, I go and practice what I've studied to make some money. And so as way back as I think my second year, my father said, "No, there's this company that needs somebody to help them. So I want you to go there every vacation and work." So that's how come I started my career so early. I just recollect, because you say we should reflect, I want us to reflect on how, first of all, technology has changed so much. When we started the whole department, we had one Apple Macintosh that we worshipped. So you go and stand by the Apple Mac, and you are allowed to touch the mouse and click it. And that was a privilege for us, because those times computers were not that popular. But UNESCO had given us one Apple Macintosh, and that Apple Macintosh influenced my life to date. You give me any machine, it's not Apple, I'm not using it. And we talked about, the whole life is always full of solutions. So when I started working, I remember we were using WordPerfect. It was even in a DOS mode. Then later on, it came into the difficult Windows mode, because that time Windows wasn't that flexible. And I recall that one time at the work site, they said, I was working with a Christian organization, so sometimes we Christians, we are a bit superstitious. Their machine had crashed, and one book in particular, they said anytime they finished working on the book, the machine crashed. And to the point that now they had nothing left but an old copy of the book. So I said to myself, if you have an old copy of the book, I don't mind, I can type it for you. Then also we'll go back to the kind of training that we were given. You know that our lecturers insisted that we learned how to type. At one point, I went to a friend's house. I saw this old typewriter just parked at the corner. I said, what is this typewriter for? He said, they are even finding a way to dispose it. I said, I need it. So they said, you can have it. So I took this typewriter. Holidays, I'll just be typing away. So I had mastered the art of typing. So once I saw that they had this problem, I just took the old book and typed away. Morning, evening, night, morning, evening, night. And I got it typed. But the reason why I'm citing this story is that technology has moved so fast that if this has happened in this day and age, all I would have done is to scan the book and OCR it. So technology has moved and it has helped us in one way. By storage, we started with floppy disk. I think some of the younger ones, they might not know what we are talking about. We started with a floppy disk, which was 1.4 kilobytes. And we moved on to a savior which was called zip disk. And that was took more memory, more space. Then we moved to writable and rewritable CDs. Then now we have external disks and cloud. So you see how technology has helped us along the way. But if you juxtapose it to the emergence of e-books, my friend Kobe here will tell you, the printing side of the industry really suffered at a point because people switched to so much e-books. And I remember those times we used to print in Malaysia, and when we visited the printing press, he had dedicated about a quarter of the press to reproducing stationery because they had lost so much work that if they didn't sustain themselves with something else, then they might as well fold up. But luckily, after some time, the euphoria went away and traditional books are back with a bang. Now we have moved from e-books to audiobooks to what we now know as inclusivity publishing. So publishers are now confronted with the task of reintroducing their material to make it very, very inclusive. Now, maybe I've talked too much about technology. What about policy? I think my senior brother here talked a lot about policy and how it also creeps us on us. If those of us in the industry we've always been confronted with battling with policy. Good ones come to help, bad ones come to destroy the industry. We had the book policy, which was perfect, was used 2002 to about 2010, and everything went on well. Now that was thrown away, and something else came, and publishers were found wanting. I think that my experience in doing my MPhil has shown me that it is not only industry that should influence policy. I think that the policymakers find industry as too much of interested parties, that we make too much noise and they don't hear. When academia steps in, I think the game will change because they see academia as neutral, and if they are influencing policy, it will be purely on professional basis. So we are here, we are going to help you so that we can influence policy, because the tangle that we are going is like we started off by manufacturing so many cars, and now the road is very narrow. So where are we driving those cars to? It's something that we should reflect on and think about. Policies to influence reading culture, If people are not reading, what are we writing for? The normal trend now is that you would have to produce enough textbooks to be able to market to schools, to make some money to produce trade books, which is not the best thing to do, because there should be publishers who would want to just focus on trade books and make a living out of it. So we need to influence the market, to expand the market for all those that we are training to be able to fit in somewhere. I know you gave some wonderful statistics of how we fit everywhere. In fact, this course, because you are reading everything, doing everything, everywhere you are moved to, you are able to perform, and that's a good thing. You are 40 years old. You are matured now. They say life begins at 40. Let's put life into what we have. We should let the policymakers know and the governments know that we have a constituency. After 40 years, it is a huge constituency that we have, and they should listen to us. I think that's about all that I want to say, yeah. So, deliberate book culture. How do we do this? Because even in the advanced countries that they've managed to cultivate this kind of culture, they are even still struggling with a lot of returns. People are not buying books to read. But how do we cultivate a deliberate book culture? I think it all has to come from academia. Once you are growing and teaching
how to sing, can join me. Ayiko o, ayiko o, ayiko o, ayiko o, ayiko o, aye, publishing studies. On this occasion, as we celebrate 40 years of publishing education in Ghana, reflections and the way forward, we acknowledge the dedication, the hard work, the visionary leadership that have shaped the program's success. Your efforts have not only enriched the lives of countless students, but have also advanced the field of publishing in meaningful ways. Therefore, on behalf of the Provost and the entire membership of the college, we want to say Ebenezer. That's how far the Lord has brought us. And we are indeed very grateful. So may this memorable celebration spur you to greater achievements, actionable solutions, and innovations. I wish you grace for the next 40 years as we demonstrate our collective commitment to shape the future of publishing in Africa. No less resilient, it must be sustainable and better prepared in a changing world. Thank you so much, and congratulations, Publishing Studies.
Thank you, Rep of the Provost. Dean, Faculty of Arts. Professor Seidu Karikacha.
Good morning. Prof. Chair, all protocols observed. The rep of the Provost, your song was infectious, and it took me to Efremamo's song, Edikamfu. Publishing studies, you are pioneers in this field. So maybe I'll borrow Mr. Ike Appiah's voice, because my voice is not good. and say, Edi Kamfue, Mumo, Maya Bia Maya, Emamose, Mo. Warmest wishes to Department of Publishing Studies on your 40th anniversary. For 4 decades, the Department of Publishing Studies has become a beacon of excellence, nurturing talented minds and shaping the future of the Ghanaian publishing industry. We celebrate your remarkable achievements, from pioneering and path-breaking programs to fostering a vibrant community of scholars and practitioners. You have made an indelible mark on the intellectual landscape of Ghana. May the department continue to illuminate the path of aspiring publishers, ensuring a thriving and diverse Ghanaian publishing scene for generations to come. Aiko Edikamfu.
We'll take one goodwill message from the Pioneer Book Industry class.
Prof. Chair, all other invited guests, colleagues, former students and current students, I'm happy I have this opportunity to say something, but I've put it in a poem form. I'm making it poetic. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to introduce my lecturer in editing, Mr. Awoli Dekwiche, who taught me 40 years ago and still looks the same. I don't know why. He has a secret. Because my hair is all white, his isn't. And I have Reverend Adam Tete here, who also taught me 40 years ago. And I had a tough time with him. We had to quarrel. Not knowing he had seen something in me. Kwabna, if you ask me what I saw in you and I still see in you, Reverend says he saw something in me. And even though he confessed that the first project, ours was a live project by a professor, an author who was a lecturer at Cape Coast. I came out with 9 different book covers, he rejected all. The last one, I just threw it in his face and got angry and said, I won't design again. He didn't say anything. Then after submitting my thesis, Professor Mate called me and said, Abia, I want you and De Graaf to become, do your service here. And I said, no, I'm going to industry. He said, no, you have to stay. I said, no, I want to go to industry. Then he said, why? I said, I've seen that a lot of people these days, you don't give scholarship again after national service. They would have taken my space in industry. Then he said, no, I promise you, the two of you, you are the pioneers, you are going to stay. Kobe Asma is here. He was my mate. We came the same year. Kobe, I have a poem and you have a part in it. And it goes like this. Chale, they say some new course come. Where did they call them book industry? Them say Ibinesco, where did them sponsor? What? But you? Book binding today they do for university. They're not serious. Chale, make you leave me go do my graphics. Hey, bookminder, can you bind my book for me? They laughed. They giggled. They made fun of me. Little did they know that I was their soon-to-be publisher. Such was the extent of misconception I suffered as a pioneer. But I had come too far to beat retreat. The semester had advanced. Turning back was no option. So I forged ahead amid the mockery, consoling myself with the question, can the bookman possess no knowledge? Impossible. I have come to know that they all exist because of me. I am the book industrialist. I am the publisher. Although they mocked me on hindsight, they soon ran to me when they saw the light. Then I got the opportunity to educate them. I am the preserver of knowledge for posterity. I am the content creator for eternal consumption. I organize thoughts when they exist as scattered ideas on the mind. I shape language to make meaning to the reader. I illuminate obscure thoughts with beautiful illustrations. You are what you are because of my profession. My Vice-Chancellor, Kosia, is a pharmacist by profession because I organized all the technical information in the book that has made her who she is. I am the book industrialist. I am the publisher. Thank you.
The way IK has done it, I'm compelled to curtail the Google messages. Because this summarizes everything and makes it so beautiful. Madam Chair, am I permitted to cut it so that we can make progress? The Vice Chancellor notes, and therefore, by the power so conferred on me, I cut all the Google messages. Those of you who still have messages that you wanted to deliver, but because of this we are cutting, bear with us. It's not deliberate, bear with us. And so, Madam Chairperson, as you see, the cake is already here before us. We are going to have to cut the anniversary cake. Cakes are cut on wedding days, on birthdays, on anniversaries. And I'm told that it has a rich history and tradition. What it means, it signifies, is good fortune, unity, and the possibility of celebrating more milestones in the future. This is one piece of cake. We're going to cut it and share. So the one piece comes into all of us, and by it coming into all of us, we become one, and therefore there is unity in us. And so on this note, I invite Madam Chairperson, Professor Mrs. Rita Kusia-Dixon, HOD, Dr. Mrs. Lucy Koto, the Dean of the Faculty of Art, Professor Seidu Caricature, the representative of the Provost of the College of Art and Built Environment to come round the table where the cake is so that we help the HOD to cut the anniversary cake. Do we have the knife? So, Mr. Sarakunadu Yamua, Mrs. Pelduya, and Mr. Kwabe Japon, please join the HOD, the Dean, the Provost, and the Vice Chancellor to cut the cake. And all pioneering lecturers who are here, please join us Your effort has brought us this far. Ms. Ake Apia, please represent the pioneer class. Is anybody in the Pioneer Publishing Studies program here? The pioneer class of the Publishing Studies?
So we cut this cake in the name of God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all very much, drummers and dancers. We are grateful that you enliven this event with your music and dance. Madam Chair, may I please invite you to do your closing remarks, after which we acknowledge people here, and then we do the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, MC Registrar. I think that Ike's poem, you'll agree with me, concluded everything. And I want to confirm that we all are who we are because of you. And we thank you. And yes, you can do it. I won't collect money from you. You can do it. You can do it. And I don't know what we confirm by saying that when you are in the academic environment, you publish or you do what? So I can confirm what he said. And we are very grateful indeed. What a beautiful 40-year story. We have heard so much, and we are gingered by how the program began, its humble beginnings, and the gallant men and women that this program has churned out over the years and continue to churn out. And I believe that this is a motivation and inspiration, especially for the students here in this great hall and in this university, that it doesn't matter how you start, you must focus on what is ahead. And for so long as you are trained in this great university, you have no other option but to shine. You just have to shine, You are not clapping. You don't even believe it. Whether you like it or not, you will shine, because we will make you shine. Thank you very much. And all the feedback that we have received, we take all of them in good faith. Of course, I agree with you, Kobna. Policy, technology, we can't leave them out. And whether we like it or not, in this technologically advancing space and world that we find ourselves in. And thank you, sis. She did a good job with that, and as well as our first speaker. We are keeping an eye on all that. Yes, AI, but we say responsible AI. Responsible AI. And we have one of the champions of responsible AI in the person of the Dean for Quality Assurance. We say, let's use it. Let's use technology. But can we be very responsible as we use technology? And so we are grateful. We will keep an eye on that. As for the leadership of the college, of the faculty, and of the department, what do we say to you? We thank you for all the hard work. Faculty, all the dedication, all the commitment, the sleeplessness, the sacrifices. On behalf of my dear students, we say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I think my daughters in that poetry recital did it very, very beautifully. They told the story for us. Thank you for couching it out like that for us. We are grateful. We are grateful for what you have done over the years. We're grateful for what you're doing now, and we will continue to be grateful for what you have for us in the future. Let us continue to keep our eyes on the ball all the time and continue to work very hard, not just for KNUST, not just for Ghana, not just for the continent of Africa, but for humanity across the globe. We thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you very much, VC. Please permit me to acknowledge all those who could make it to this event. The first I would like to acknowledge, I'm not doing it in any particular order, but the first I would like to acknowledge is the people called all are cordially invited. On programs and invitations, they say all are cordially invited, and they will always come. So all are cordially invited, we acknowledge you. And then also, we acknowledge Mr. Kobi Asma, CEO, Type Company Limited, for coming. Mr. Bennett Hansen, Publishing and Management Consultant. Mr. John Kwesi Amponsa, President, Ghana National Association of Authors and Publishers. St. Godson Kwesiba, Afram Publication. Paul K. Echampong, CEO, Classic Print. Mr. John Bedua, CEO, Nash Graphics. These are the names that I have here. If I have not mentioned your name, you are part of the all. And then, on the side of the university, we have our Vice Chancellor here, Professor and Mrs. Rita Kusia-Dixon, Professor Jerry John Konyon of Kwapu, Mr. Moses Sikwe, Internal Auditor, Professor Datsun Aunyo Vitor, Provost, College of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Professor Edwin Bojawa, Lawyer Bernardo, Professor Christian Crantin, who deputized for the Provost of the College of Arts and Built Environment, Dr. Subontin HOD of the Arts, Woli Dekuche, and Reverend Dr. Edem Tete Pania, lecturers. Who else? If I haven't mentioned your name, please remember that you are now called all. We are grateful that you could come and spend time with us so that we could launch this anniversary. As we unfold the program, please take note and join us whenever we call so that we can make the 40th anniversary meaningful, more meaningful in charting the future for ourselves. Life, they say, begins at 40. We are old enough to make progress and impact. Madam Chairperson, a few announcements. All the students are expected to remain in the Great Hall after we are done and gone out. Our invited guests and dignitaries and senior members here will retire to the engineering guest house for some refreshment. Thank you very much. I want to acknowledge the drummers. They are from the university, the Center for, what is it again? CCAST. That's for CCAST, I know. Center for African and Cultural Studies. Right. They are our own people here. They provided music for us. Madam Chair, with your permission, I invite Mrs. Joycelyn Arabafin to move the vote of thanks.
Madam Chair, Professor Rita Kusia-Destin, all protocols observed. I am honored to stand before you today as a proud alumnus of the esteemed publishing program. I completed publishing studies in the year 2016, and I must say 8 years on, it has been an amazing experience. As we gather here to celebrate 40 incredible years, I want to express our gratitude to God for how far He has brought us. To our Vice Chancellor, thank you so much, Madam, for honoring our invitation. To the Provost here, Deans, Directors, HODs, and our special guest speakers, thank you so much for being here today. To our dedicated faculty and staff, thank you for sharing your expertise and passion for publishing and shaping our journey. Your guidance and mentorship have empowered.
We thank you for the leaders of this university, the department, alumni, and students, and all people who are here. May you continue to bring our mind back to as one people with unity. Format our mind to refresh and to take off the next level of leadership to that far, to push and forge forward the department to the greater heights. We pray that Lord bless KNUST and bless the Department of Publishing Studies and the college and the faculty. We pray that as we are leaving here, lead us safely to our various destinations, and when everybody reach, Father, we give you honor, adoration, and thanks. May your name be praised, adored, and sanctified in Jesus' name, Lord. We also committing our Professor Mate, who is not well, and by God's grace, you've given him that years in his life. The Lord use this day and convert all that he has done into righteousness and strength for him today, and grant him healing in the bones and the body, and grant everyone who is old here strength and power, so that at the end of the day we'll say, Lord, you are wonderful. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.